Hey guys, welcome to this video. In this video, we will be learning about how do we study better, study more efficiently, and study easily. So, I have researched a lot about this topic, and basically it's going to be the best one you will ever find, the best one you will ever need to find. And 1 second. Okay, no, it's pretty cool. So basically, what our main topics will be, they will be overall preparation, and it will be the study methods. I will also give you additional tips for studying, and we will also take a look at how do we make studying more easy. Like, we should be productive while studying. We should not be lazy or something like that. And how we can make it fun also. So the first topic was the startup, or you can say the overall preparation for studying. Well, before we start about studying sessions, we have to take a look at a lot of things like about our health and stuff. So we will take a look at them now. So we have 10 points to cover. The first one is make it a habit. This specific point describes that when we start to study, we should not be studying at random time stamps. Other than that, what we should do, we should have a very structured time, or I can say very structured schedule. Like I'm going to start studying from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. So during those 2 hours, I will be studying, and not only just for one day, but I will be studying that for a very long period of time. Let's suppose for the next 30 days, I'm going to study from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. And when you keep repeating the same things, like I've already made a video about habits, when you repeat the same things, it becomes a habit. So after 30 days, you will not need to put that extra concentration in, like extra, you don't have to force yourself to, start studying, because your brain is already aware about that. On 7 a.m., you have to start studying, whether it be this way or that way, about how your cues are generating and stuff, like how your cues are being triggered, and that's a different topic. That's about habit creation. But when you make it a habit, it will become an automated process, and it will become much easier for you to follow your studying routine for a very long time. Then we have schedule it. Well, basically, make it a habit is basically repeating studying again and again. And schedule, I was just going to mention schedule it afterwards. Sorry, I mentioned them together. Schedule it is basically schedule your study times. Like I'm going to study from 7 to 9, and then I will be studying from 2 to 4, and then I will be studying from 8 to 10. Just schedule all these study time zones. Just don't say I will just go with the flow. I will just start studying and I will see where I end up. Stay organized, because that's going to make sure you're fully focused. Your deep focus into focus, because 2 hours of deep work, 2 hours of good focus is better than 10 hours of unfocused person. And the number 3 point is stay hydrated and not hungry. So basically, hydration is very important for a human, because if you're not hydrated, if your body is not hydrated, when you try to focus on the study, you may lose the focus from the studies, because of your body is not hydrated and it's looking for water. It needs some water. So make sure you're always hydrated before starting a study session. And I will prefer not to have a water. I will prefer to have a cup of water and not. Well, there are both things, because while you're studying and you're drinking water, you may lose the concentration, but it's okay to have a cup of water there while you're studying. If you make sure your focus is not being diverted because of the cup of water, it's okay. And not hungry just basically means because of hunger, your attention might be diverted towards something to eat. And also don't overfill your stomach, because that's just going to make you lazy. So stay in neutral position, right? And sleep properly. Sleep does really affect studying, because when you sleep exactly 7.5 hours, because that's scientifically proved that our brain goes through a 90-minute sleep cycle, which is light sleep, then deep sleep, and then the dream phase. It happens after every 90 minutes, and it's scientifically proved that we should all at least give our brain, we should always at least go through the 5 of these cycles during the night, which is basically 7.5 hours. And when you when you sleep properly, your brain completely refresh itself. It's completely relaxed. It all automatically cope up with those new information that you learned that day, and it will not be tired. Like, you will not wake up tired, or you will not wake up lazy in the day, in the morning. And then we have taken fresh air and sunlight. Well, while during when we start studying, we usually feel like, I'm just pissed off. I cannot focus on something. I cannot focus on the study, because you also need to take in fresh air. Like, you've been sitting on the chair, you've been sitting in your room since days and days. You need to go out for 5 minutes, take a walk. Let your body get a little bit into with the nature and stuff. It helps you. It helps you become active. It gives you that dopamine hit that makes you happy, that gives you happy vibes, and that makes you active again. And sunlight is important because it kind of activates the vitamin D in your bones and stuff. So yeah. And then we have exercise every day. Well, exercise is very important while we study. It's not really important, but it is important when you study, because before studying, I mean to say, like, overall, if you want to study, focus and better. Because when you exercise, your body is fully free. Like, you're stretching your arms, you're stretching your neck, you're stretching your back. Now your body is fully stretched out, and it will not cause you any back pains, any neck pains, or any kind of pains. Now, when your body is stretched out, you will feel like free. You will be able to properly focus on that specific subject or specific topic or specific thing that you're learning. It can be any new skills. So exercise is a very good option. I will prefer you to exercise daily. And then we have this decrease distractions. Well, distraction can be literally anything. And the first distraction is, let's suppose you're reading a book, basically. When you're reading a book for chemistry or anything, or it can be just like, reading a self-development book or economy-related book or anything book, right? When you're reading the book, the distraction in here will be your mobile phone. Now, when you're reading the book, your mobile phone there, you get a message from TikTok, you get like someone uploaded a new video, you get a message from your friends, hey, what's up, how are you? You kind of lose the focus. Your attention has been diverted from the book to the mobile phone. Now, when you reply them back and stuff, you try to put your focus back on the book, it will not be that much, it will not have that much strength that it had before, because you're already distracted. You have already lost the focus. Now you need to study again for that 15 minutes or 30 minutes to gain that focus back. You cannot get the focus back in 2 minutes. Now you have to force yourself to focus on the book for another 15 minutes till you get distracted again by the mobile phone. And then comes the topic of printed books are good if possible. And the distraction is not only about mobile phones, it can be literally anything. It can be your friend is at the home and he's distracting you from doing, studying properly. You can just get rid of the distractions, put your phone on flight mode or something, and just decrease them. If you're not able to get rid of them, just decrease the distractions. And printed books are good if possible. Why is it good if possible? Well, basically, the printed books are good only because of the distraction itself. So we're taking an example of, like, if you're studying from a PC or you're studying from a mobile phone, and these printed books are good if possible, does not work for all the time. If you're a focused guy, if you know how to get rid of distractions, this point is worthless. But if you're unfocused, if you can easily lose your focus, then it's good point to note, because what can happen, you can open the PDF file in your mobile phone and you will get a notification from someone. You will just click on it and just get distracted. So why these printed books are good in this case scenario, if you're easy to get distracted, because you will not have any connection with the social media or the internet. You're only yourself. You're only being yourself at this specific moment, unless you're not at some function or your friends are not at your home or stuff as that happens. So that's why they mentioned printed books are good. We have another point, study in library. This point is also not that much valuable, but it just depends upon person to person. Couple of people get distracted in library, but some few people prefer to study in library. It's just about how you feel to study. I will, in the additional study tips, I will give you a very good example of how to replace studying in library with something else, because it's not really good option to study in library. You will get distracted, or you may not get distracted. It's about the environment itself. But why do they say study in library? Why not at silent room? Because when you study at the home in your silent room, you will slowly, start to feel dizzy and stuff. Like you'll feel lazy, like there's no voice, there's nothing happening in the background, and you're just focusing on the specific thing. Your brain cannot just cope up. Your brain cannot just focus on the specific thing for long hours without having any additional information to get in and stuff as that. It will get tired. So it just depends upon, like, because I will be giving you another example and additional tips, so you can just get that information and just get rid of this studying library stuff. Color coded works well. Well, few researchers have found that, when teaching kids about something, one second, it's not only about kids. Like, usually what happens nowadays, look at kids' book, when they, if you want to teach a kid about apple, you're not going to say him, you're not going to write down apple and stuff as that. What actually happens is you will find the book that says apple. It will be like in a good font, it will be like in a good color, and then you will also have a picture of apple right there. And it's like usually visually appealing, and it's more easy to understand, it's more easy to learn. And researchers have found, like, when the book is color coded, like it's kind of interactive, kind of fancy and stuff as that, it makes the readers much more happy to read it, because it's kind of attractive, not just black and white color that we have to look at and read it. So color coded works well in this case scenario. Okay. Then we have the study method. This is part number 2, section 2 of our study battle journey. Now we will be checking a lot of study methods, and we have a couple of them though, 7 study methods if I'm sure. Well, let's get started. So we have a couple of study methods, and I think, and probably not all of them will be related to what you are doing, because the first point is old exam papers. Now here, if you're going to say, I'm not studying for exams or something, I'm just studying for myself, maybe I'm learning something about website development, maybe I'm learning some new skill, what does exam papers have to do with me? Well, it does not, but this is video for everyone, so you need to just get the points. If you're, if you're preparing for some examination, get the point. If you're not, just ignore it, right? So if you're preparing for some examination or something like that, the first thing that you should be looking at for the study method is look at your old exam papers. It will teach you a lot of stuff. It will show you the patterns, how the questions are being, structured, and what type of questions are being, are being repeated again and again. So there are more chances for that question to come again. And all this stuff, like, it teaches you how many questions there will be, what type of questions they will ask, and how do you have to prepare those questions. And that's very important. If you're starting to study, this is the first thing you should do if possible. And then we have active recall. Active recall is a very famous study method, and basically what active recall is like closing your eyes and recalling the information that you just gathered, that you just got. It's like when you like, let's suppose I'm learning about what you're doing in life, like not what you're doing in life. I'm learning about dopamine detoxes, like how dopamine works, and some neurologist is teaching me this stuff. What I will do to gather all this information, I will just read it. I will read the line, and then I will close my eyes and I will try to recall all of the information that I just gathered. Now here, what's happening is you're focusing that specific information that entered in your temporary memory, and you're trying to push it to your long-term memory. So it's just going to stay in the long-term memory. And some people might say repetition of repeatedly reading the lines will make you learn this stuff and make you study better. No, that will not. That's only for this short-term memory. If you keep repeating the same thing, it's never going into your long-term memory. You have to understand what the thing is, and you have to push it in the long-term memory with the help of active recall. Read it and then rewind it, like recall it in yourself without just looking at it. And that's the best thing that you can do, and that's the best way of learning things. It's called active recall. And we have a Feynman technique, and this is something that I've been using for a while now. Well, Feynman technique is basically teach others what you're learning, or even teach yourself. And how does that work? Well, let's suppose you're learning something. Let's suppose you're learning something about time traveling, or you're learning something about quantum mechanics, quantum physics. Now, when you learn something, let's suppose there was like a whole bunch of paragraphs and stuff. You read it all, and now what you have to do, now you're saying, I understood that. Now, what your task is basically, tell someone else, I want to tell you about quantum physics. And do not just, tell him all this stuff. Do not just tell him the way you read it. Just change the way, try to make it more simple. Try to explain that thing to him more simply, like in your own way, like how you would describe the quantum physics by your own point of view, right? Just try to do like that. But if you do not have someone else to teach, what you can do, you can teach yourself. Like when you're done, learning the quantum physics and stuff as that, there's some specific topic in it. Just pause for a moment and explain it to yourself, like what quantum physics is in simple words, and check if you're right, like were you able to explain yourself properly or not. And this will help, because Feynman technique is basically like when you repeat something to others, when you try to more simplify it, it will not only make you better, it will not only make you have better grip in that specific topic, but it will make your brain actually recall the whole scenario, and it will make it much more better. It will make it it will just try to push it in the long-term memory phase in the section. And then we have Pomodoro technique. Pomodoro technique is basically for not losing focus while you're studying, because few people say when we start studying, we stop after 4 or 5 hours. We study continuously for 4 or 5 hours. And Pomodoro technique is something that say don't study continuously for hours and hours. That is the bad way to do it, because you will not be able to focus for hours and hours. What you have to do is at least study for 35 minutes and then take a 5-minute break, and then get back to studying for 35 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. But there are kind of it's kind of controversial, because few people say when we focus on something, it takes at least 15 to 20 minutes to focus on something specific. And now when we got the focus on the specific subject, and then you're telling us to take break after 15 minutes. So that's when the question arises. So I will say, maybe just take breaks after an hour. And how the break should be is like basically you're fully focused for an hour, or like in 40 minutes at least. Yeah, 40 minutes. Take break after 40 minutes, and the break should be like no distractions, no social medias, no phone. When you're done with that stuff, no phones. It just depends upon like if you're studying from mobile phone, the PC or something, but no social medias, no nothing like that. Distractions. When you're done with that, all this stuff, for the next 5 minutes, actively recall all this stuff. Recall everything that you just studied in this 40 minutes or in this 1 hour. Just recall every single thing, so that your brain will just get some time to recall all this information. And you can just sit down and relax, and while you're recalling, or you can just lie down while you're recalling. Do not have any distractions. Okay, it's very important. And this Pomodoro technique is is to make sure that you're focused, you don't lose focus. You can give yourself some break just to refresh your brain, and then come back with more focus and stuff. And I think it's pretty good if you follow it properly. Then we have the Pareto principle. Usually Pareto principle is used in businesses. It's a 80-20 rule, and it's like the 80% of your business success is only created by the 20% of your customers. And it's like the 80% of the marks you get in the exams are only because of the 20% effort you put in, the 20% of the questions you learned. And that's right, because not all the questions come right. So what's the concept behind the Pareto principle? It just basically tells you to focus on important questions, to focus on that 20% that's actually going to give you that 80% marks. Just don't focus on you also have to focus on others too, but just give them more preferences. Like you can check the old exam paper, check what was happening, like what came again and again, and focus on the main topics, focus on that specific 20%, so that you will make sure that your 80% is perfectly fine. And then you can focus on the rest of the topics to also cope up with the other 20% marks that you will be getting. So Pareto principle is quite good. And then we have the spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is basically for making sure that we are studying more efficiently, other than studying like a hard worker or something like that. It's like study smartly but not hardly. And what's basically the concept behind the spaced repetition? It's like if you have 4 subjects to study in a day. I'm just taking an example. If you want to study 4 subjects in a day, that's going to be physics, chemistry, and mathematics, and English. Do what? Instead of just doing it like this, like you're gonna say, I study physics for 4 hours in a day, and the other day I will study maths for 4 hours, and the other day I will study chemistry for 4 hours. Instead of doing that, you just apply the spaced repetition technique, which is basically distributing all the times. Like in one day you will study physics for 1 hour, maths for 1 hour, and English for 1 hour, and chemistry for 1 hour. Instead of studying a specific subject for 4 hours, you study 4 subjects for one hour, and over the period of 4 days, you will you will do that, you will get to that progress that you would have done while studying one subject for one day. And what will happen, what's the good thing about it, is just basically it will you will remember all these things that you learned in that specific subject much better this way, because like your old school technique, you're focusing on a subject for 4 hours in a day, and after 4 days it will be hard for you to recall all the information that you learned. But you don't take you don't quick force your brain to learn all these new things. You take it slowly, you take things slowly. So 1 hour for a specific subject should be fine. Okay, 1 second, let me take some water. Okay, so then we have advanced information processing. What is advanced information processing? Well, it's just basically like when the exam days are near, we just start revising. We say, oh my god, I have like 5 days left and I need to revise all this stuff. And the advanced information processing is just basically, it mentions that revise passively, not like quickly at that specific moment. What does revise passively means? Like when you study something in the day, what you have to do is like revise all of it in the night. Study something at the day, revise all of it at the night, and after a month, try to revise all the information that you learned that specific month, and then just keep going with the flow. Just keep doing this afterwards, like again and again, and at the end, when you will have exam, you will always already be sure that you already have the information, but still you have to revise all of it again, right? You can just go through all of the information, but you don't have to push it in your brain because it's already there because of the advanced information processing, right? Yeah. Okay, so now we are done with this study methods. So let's move ahead. Now we have the additional tip. So we're gonna see how we can study more efficiently in the next slide. Here we have 5 points that we will be noting, and they're very useful. I'm not even lying. And it's just basically, the first point is, don't take notes. You might think, what is this guy saying? Why not take notes? Well, basically, when you just like, it depends upon like when you're taking the notes. Let's suppose you're reading something from a book. The book contains like, let's suppose you're watching some YouTube video or something like that, and there's like a 1 hour like, or 1 or 2 hour video, and you only find like 2 points useful, then you can note them down. But here the thing is like, don't know things like, let's say you have a question answer written somewhere already, and then what you're doing now is you're writing it on your some personal notebook, just to make sure that while you're writing it will make you memorize this stuff, and you will check it in the future or something like that. Well, do not do that, because that's a waste of time. It will not work. It will not get that particular thing that you're writing down into your brain, because they're both doing the different things. You might remember that like whatever you're writing for that specific moment, but after some time you will just forget it, like really. So because nowadays, like if you're studying some chemistry or something online, like anything like this, let's suppose you're studying website development, you literally do not have to take one note for website development, because you can literally just go to Google, search for how do we do this, what is this, and what is that. If you can get the information in 1 second, why even waste your like that time to just note it down? Why even do that? And that's the main purpose of saying don't take notes. And number 2 is test yourself. Let's suppose you were following the Pomodoro, what was the name? Pomodoro. Let me just recall it. It was with the name of Pomodoro technique. Well, now when you're following the Pomodoro technique, let's suppose you will just, not actually Pomodoro technique, because the break is just to recall everything. But now we're saying like, what's test yourself? When you're done studying for the day, just sit down and then test yourself. Like, let's see what you learned. And I'm gonna say, if I learned something about JavaScript, like how to sort an array, then test yourself. You ask yourself, how do we do this? You make a question, you make the question, and you answer the question, and test yourself like this. It will make, like when you're doing mathematics, write your own questions and then make your own answers. And this way you will completely understand the whole like whatever you're studying. You will even be able to answer extra questions that you were not able to answer before, and this will become much better, efficient way to study for you. This is like additional tips for studying. And then we have no multitasking. And this is very important to know, because multitasking literally, makes your focus done. You cannot focus on the study if you're multitasking. What is multitasking? Multitasking can be basically anything, like you're drinking water while you're studying, and then someone comes into your room, you're saying, oh yeah, yeah, I will do this, and then he's leaving, and then you're focusing back on the study, and here you're also trying to solve the Rubik's Cube while you're studying, and here you're eating something while you're studying, you're eating a lunch, dinner, whatever, it doesn't matter. But do not do that, because you that in that way you cannot completely focus on the specific thing you're studying. It will just make your focus very very bad. And there was a book with the name of Deep Work. It basically meant to say like 2 hours of focused work is better than 10 hours of unfocused work. If you're focused for just 2 hours, it's better than those 10 hours of unfocused work, because it's more efficient. It doesn't matter like how much information you got. The thing that matters is like for how long you can keep that information in your brain. Like you need to get the information for long term, not just a specific amount of time. You're going to get 10 hours of that information which you will just forget about after a couple of days. That's not efficient, that's shit. And then we have listen to white noise. Did I mention in the start? I did mention in the start of the video that it's not important to go to library to study, because the other way to do that is to listen to white noise on low level. Well, white noise is just basically it's like a kind of like a sound that makes our brain into a good form. So basically what's happening, like when there's a complete silence, you usually tend to, when you're focusing on the study and there is complete silence, you cannot specifically focus on that specific thing that you're studying. Like you can focus on it, but you will become lazy after a couple of time, because there's no other background thing going on. And many people say we listen to lofi music or something like that. No, they are distractive. This white noise is literally not distractive, and it'll also make you show you that you're having that energy. You're not feeling bored because there is no background noise. So white noise is what neurologists prefer to do when when you want to focus on something specific, like when you're learning something, studying something, reading something, writing something. Listen to white noise on low sound so it doesn't disturb you while being too loud, and it's a good option. It's better than going to library in the first place. And we have focus and weakness. What is focus and weakness? Well, let's say that the weakness for you is like you're learning some new language a coding language, or you're learning something in your own studies, like you're learning chemistry or physics or something like that, and your physics is so bad. Do not start learning chemistry first because you think it's easy. Start learning chemistry first because it's your weakness. You don't keep weaknesses for the end time. You clean the weakness first, and then you do the easy task. You do the hard task first and then do the easy task, because it will be much better, much easier for your brain to complete the easy task, as it already has that as it already know it has accomplished the hard task before. Now it will be more efficient for you to not focus on those easy subjects afterwards. So that's the focus and weakness thing. Always start with the hardest thing and then end up with the easiest one. Just don't start with the easiest one and end up with the hardest one. It doesn't make sense. It does make sense kind of, but just do not do that, because that's not an efficient way of doing things. Now we're on the last topic, which is make it easy. How do we make study easy and fun? Well, we do have a couple of points to be noted that I personally researched about, and I found those tips, and they go as follow. The first one is we have 4 notes: make a map, note your progress, focus on small goals, and reward yourself. The first one, make a map. What is basically a map? So when you start studying, you actually do not know where to end up. Like you're preparing for some examination, but what is the goal behind the examination? Why even give the examination if there is no reason? So first of all, before studying, like when you play video games, you always have fun because you're going for that level up. You're going for that in a specific rank that you're craving for all the time. But when you're studying, you don't know why you're studying. You're studying for the exam. But if you think about it, why are you studying for the exam? What's the goal? You don't know. So first of all, make a map. And the map will be, what is your goal? Why you're studying? If you're studying some specific thing, what is the goal? Is it to become a computer science engineer or something like that? Now, when the goal is clear, you already know what you have to do. The map is, you have to do this to become this, to become an engineer, to become a doctor, or to become a psychologist. It can be anything, but you need to have a clear goal. And when you have that, studying will become much more fun because you know where you have to go. What is the journey? How is the journey going to go? You're not going to get bored because you don't know the journey. Now you know the journey, so you just have to crave for the goal. And we have note the progress. Note the progress. basically noting the progress is like sometimes people just tend to go with the flow. They just learn things and they say, we will see what happens afterwards. We will see like how much we have to learn. We just keep learning, and at the end, what happened? The exam is next day, and they realize they still have 10 lessons to learn, or something like that. So what you have to do basically is, first of all, make a notebook, or you can just go online with the help of Notion. You can make notes. You can make good structures, and then note there. First of all, write all the things that you have to learn. How much time do you have, and then how many lessons or how many subjects you have completed. And accordingly, when you're progressing, slowly keep changing the progress. So you always keep yourself up to date. How much time you have left, how many things you have to learn still, and how much time you should give to these subjects in a day. So you will always get organized. You will never get lost. You will never you will never get the feeling that I can't do this. I think I will just fail because I cannot complete all this stuff. When you have a specific, when you all of that have a status bar, it will never become boring. You will never get lost because you will always have the track for everything. And we have focus on small goals. It is basically, people usually tend to focus on the big goals, which is the examination. Or you can say, people, when you're studying programming or something, our big goal is just going to become a developer or something. And that's a big goal because but developer is a different scenario. Well, let's talk about examination. The examination is a one-time thing. If you fail examination, it's like a big thing because you can give the examination after another year, but usually the JE and high level stuff. But when you play video games, what the scenario is a little bit different in the video games. What is the difference? You can try again till you succeed, and that makes us, when you try again, you become better. When you try again, you become better. But that's not the same thing with studies. You cannot keep trying again because when you fail one time, you have to wait another year, and that's so bad, right? And that's why we all have this fear of not, we all have this fear of failing the examination or not going through. So to get rid of the fear, do not just focus on the big goal, which is the examination itself. Focus on the small goals. What is a small goal? The small goal can be, I want to finish this chapter. I want to finish this chapter. I want to finish this chapter. When you're satisfied with this one, your small goal is completed. Oh, I've successfully learned this chapter. Now let me focus on my second goal. Just forget the big goal. You already know the journey is going to be that big goal, but you don't focus on it because that will just make you depressed, and that will make you kind of lose the track and stuff. So just focus on small goals. Achieve these small things till you will be fully prepared for that big goal, right? And the last point is reward yourself. Usually, when you're done studying, you just do nothing and you're just bored and stuff. You're just like, why did I even study? This is so boring, bro. Like, you need to crave for that goal, but with the help of map. But still, it's not fun, right? Studies has never been fun. So what you have to do when you're done with that 3-hour, 4-hour study session, do what? Just give yourself something reward. Like, let's suppose, go out or eat something, or tell yourself, when I'm done with the studying, I'm going to play a game. So then your brain will just crave for that reward, and it will go through all the routine. That's basically how habits work, and you will get that small dopamine hit, like when you know that, oh, when I'm done with the studying session, I can play games for half an hour. How cool is that? And tell yourself, if you're not able to complete this 4-hour study session, you're not getting any reward, and that's when your brain start craving for that reward, and it will follow the whole routine. You can to make sure you're more on you have more grip on what you're saying on your words. You can create accountability with other people. Let's suppose you tell your friends to also help you to also be accountable together. Like if they don't follow something, you will give them some punishment, or you will not. You will tell them to not get the reward or something, depending on what the reward can be. And accountable like that, you can become more accountable on others, and they will become accountable on you. Like you will both help each other. It doesn't have to be you both are studying the same thing. You could be studying the different thing, but still help each other out. So, well, there we go. Don't wait for the right time. Time isn't waiting for you. I love this quote, and I'm telling you this thing. People just keep waiting. They say, time will come, I will start learning this. Time will come, I will start doing this. Well, there is no right time. You make the right time. This is the right time. Don't wait for opportunity. Create one. Right? So you don't have to wait. Just do now. There is no tomorrow. There is now and now. So just do it, right? Just do not wait. Do not keep waiting. Now, when you're done watching this video, get started already. Just do not start watching another study video and then start watching another study video for those small dopamine hits. It will not help you. It's all waste. I'm telling you this. So there you go. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you like this. If you do, hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment down below how was this video, and turn the bell icon on for all of the videos if you would like to. Share this video with your friends and family and let them know how you felt about this video. I will see you in the next one, and have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care.